I'm talking with the Chief Minister, Alan Bell, and I've actually got my computer with me to start with because I want your reaction to one of your council of ministers, Julian Watterson, who really, I'll quote it in full, 12 hours ago, so this was on during your CoMin day. Full day with CoMin, some difficult truths for all of us, and much soul searching. We must continue to improve as a team.
Yes, Mr. Watterson has an interesting relationship with social media. But the day yesterday was a heavy day. It's something I've been looking for a while. I think we obviously have the routine agenda to deal with, but I think it's also very important from time to time for ministers to reassess their own positions, their own personal relationships, which get a bit strained at times, and to try and iron out any difficulties there might be to enable us to work better for the future. It's only through working as a team in the council that we will be able to deliver the public the standard of services that they're looking for, and to enable us collectively to respond to some of the problems we're facing.
Is there disarray then in council ministers?
It's not disarray, but it doesn't do any harm at all from time to time to have a clearing of the air and to give everyone a chance away from an agenda situation, simply to speak their mind about the various issues that are concerning them.
And we've got the Chris Robert Shaw effect, as I'm calling it now. He's turning to very much Marmite, isn't he? With a lot of people, and I'm getting briefings, from both just backbenchers and also some members of CoMin about his style is not exactly encompassing everybody or making them feel happy. I mean, obviously this is just what people are saying, but they're not going to go on the record about it.
Mr. Robert Shaw, as all of us, we all have our own style of politics, and we will always manage to upset one section of the community or another. But Mr. Robert Shaw has a difficult situation. We have just set up this new position of policy and reform. It in itself is finding its way, it's finding its feet. And so it's a combination of actually working to ensure that the new department delivers what I hope it will deliver, and it's still in its early stages yet. We've still some distance to go. And of course, Mr. Robert Shaw also has to adjust his style to a more collaborative way of working. The Minister of Policy and Reform has to be on very good terms with all ministers, because there is obviously a close working requirement there. And that relationship takes some time to iron out.
I mean, I know there's a question in Tynwald about this, so you won't be pushed, I'm sure, but even yourself talking about those big debates, you've indicated that maybe they weren't the best way forward, the way the questions were put there, and maybe the people invited. I mean, you have indicated that there's some lessons to be learned.
Yes, and we are learning lessons from this. That the people forget the intention behind this. This again is the first time we've really tried this, or anyone has tried it. We did. I introduced the Roman CoMin a few years ago. That started to lose interest, I think, in the end. So we have to find a different way of communicating with the public. The idea that Mr. Robert Shaw had of an invited audience, which has been criticised, I think is a very good one, because the dangers we found with Roman CoMin was that the same people were turning up to every meeting, and we were only hearing a very small section of public opinion.
We couldn't be surprised with that, because that's going to happen.
Yes, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I'm not criticising it, but that's what happens at
But have you therefore
meetings.
done this purely to keep those few people away?
No, it's to try and get a balance of views. We want to hear what the silent majority is hearing, not what the vocal minority is spouting on a regular basis. It partially worked, I think, first time round. We learned from the first meeting, and it will continue to be refined. Once we've got our balance right, then there will be a further round of public meetings where everybody will be invited. But this isn't a political or series of political meetings in a sort of party sense. It is a genuine attempt on the part of the Council of Ministers to talk directly to a wide section of the public, to explain to them what the future challenges are, because we are in danger, I think, in the very near future, of having achieved our first major target, which is rebalancing the budget. It's most important for people to understand that once we've achieved that, that is not simply the end of the exercise. That's the end of that part of the work we have to do. The real challenge for government now is how do we develop from that a sustainable structure for the future.
I think a problem that we've been talking off camera for weeks about, months now really, is about the electioneering that's going on in some quarters. And Tynwald's coming back, and you know what's going to start happening over the next 2 years. People are going to want money left, right and centre for something in their particular area. This is going to happen, isn't it?
It is going to take a great deal of discipline on the part of ministers and on particularly backbenchers to recognise that although we're close now to rebalancing the budget, the fact there's an election 2 years down the road is no green light to go back to the old spending ways and simply just develop a further stage of populist politics.
It's going to happen because people want their votes, right?
There will certainly be members who in fact, members who are already on that bandwagon. The one thing I have to say I hate in politics is populism. We have to do what is best for the Isle of Man, best for the people, but in particular what is best for a sustainable future for the Isle of Man, not short-term headline chasing. And I hope we can avoid that as much as possible.
And you know how I'm going to finish almost every interview with every politician that from probably now to the election will be, are you standing?
At the moment I've made no decision. We have 2 years to go. I have a very difficult and very challenging job to continue with as Chief Minister. I intend to stay there as long as people want me there. And I will, at the end of that, decide what my future will be.
Seriously, when would you have to make your mind up yourself? About a year before or something like that? In your head, do you have a sort of time that you'd say yourself?
You start thinking about a year out as to how you feel, whether you still have the enthusiasm for the job, whether you still have the drive and vision to take things forward, and of course what your own personal position is health-wise, and you know, surprisingly, people do tell me there is a life outside of politics, but I haven't yet found it.
Are you looking forward to Tynwald coming back? It's normally quite bruising, isn't it, for you? You normally get more these days.
Tynwald is an important part of the political process. I'm sure if all members were honest with you, it's not the most edifying experience, and of late it's less so, I think. But it's an important ingredient, and we have to make the best of it. I just hope that it develops into a more constructive forum than it's been perhaps over the last year or so.
Maybe cameras should be in there, because I mean on the audio it does come across quite like sometimes naughty school children. Sometimes maybe cameras would be the solution. If
you have cameras in there, it would still come across in exactly the same way. So I don't think it would make much difference.